Welcome back to Footy Classified. Just a drink of the water from the man who's had the pressure valve released. Brett Ratten joins us in the hot seat on the back of a losing streak of 14 games. It could have been a record, Rats. You're up against the arch enemy and you've walked away with a super win.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think you go to the MCG and I think the week before against Essendon around 80,000, and it was just magic for our blokes to get out there and play the type of footy that we know they can play.
First win as a coach. Yep. How's the last couple of days, well, last day been? It's only been 24 hours, really. I mean, what about the emotion?
Yeah, I think after the game it was pretty high. I think you know, the president and everyone came down. It was fantastic for the boys to sing the song, and as normal, if it's your first version of the song as a player or coach, you're in the middle, and I had to go in the middle with the boys, and off we went. So yeah, it was great. But footy's a brutal game, and as soon as Monday comes, you move on, and Melbourne's this week.
Talk to me about Brendan Favola. You've played with him. You've seen his best. You've seen his worst. We've discussed it before. Did you have any sense that he was going to pull out one like that?
I think I think Brendan's pre-season form's been outstanding in the way he's trained, and last week he kicked 8 goals, and this week he's kicked 7. But I'm not too worried about his goals. It's great he does that naturally, but it's his chasing and his pressure, and he causes turnovers, and we win the ball back. That's what is fantastic about Brendan. Was
there a time when you'd had enough? Have you ever got to the stage where you just thought, well, look, we'll stick it out this year, but if I know you put him on his last chance, but in your own mind, did you think, yeah, this is just about time?
I know. I think I tried to build a relationship with Brendan when I took over as coach, and I think we've done that because of our history together. And he had a misdemeanour off the season, before the season, right before the start of the season, and we addressed that, and we gave Brendan another chance, and it's his last chance. And we thought the penalty was fair because it wasn't about this year; it was about next year and the years after, and that's the standard that we set at Carlton Footy Club.
Do you subscribe to the theory that you discount for the stars as opposed to the lesser players on your list, like Mick Moldhouse has intimated previously that the stars get a better run?
No. Everyone's treated evenly. We've stated that at our club, and no one will get a free ticket. If they make mistakes, they'll get penalised for it.
Tell us about Chris Judd. He had an unbelievable last quarter, 14 kicks, and really seems to be running into some form. You're like a kid with a new toy in the off-season and just working out how best to use it. How's his fitness now? Are we starting to see him emerge as the player that he was again?
I think in the Essendon game we've seen the power come back in his takeoffs, and he's one of the quickest players in the AFL, and he does that through stoppages where laterally he can go very quick, and I think we're really seeing that in his games now.
This year they've got the State of Origin back.
Yep.
How are you going to deal with Chris Judd when they put their hand up for him?
Well, if Chris is selected and he's right to go, he'll play. If Brendan's selected, or Mark Murphy or Jared Waite, they'll play. I think it's a great honour to be selected to play in a great game.
Would you encourage him to? Sorry, would you encourage him to play? I mean, I know it's a dicey one with his injury and all those sorts of things, but would you be encouraging if he was sort of touch and go? Would you be saying, get out and play?
I think he knows his body better than anyone. He's played in the AFL system for 6-7 years, and if he's right in a few weeks' time, he'll play. Yeah.
Brett, you've took over the Carlton Footy Club that had lost a lot of spirit over the last 5 or 6 years. Yeah. I think you were keen to get someone like Dean Rice back. You did get, I think, Lappin and Teague just out of retirement in development roles. Braddles is back. Sticks is back with a big influence again on the match committee. Is there too much Carlton back at Carlton?
I don't know about that. I think...
Or was it deliberate?
I think you need a part of Carlton back at the Carlton Footy Club, but you also need some other people around that have been at other clubs, and we've got Brett Montgomery, he's doing a fantastic job from the Bulldogs, Port Adelaide, but he's been involved in premierships. Gavin Krasiska, premiership player from Collingwood. Mark Riley's doing a super job.
And did others convince you that maybe you should get a bit of non-Carlton in there as well?
I was always of the opinion that you need a balance there. I think if you get all Carlton, we all have this blue view, you could say, but I think you need a splash of variety with other teams and other experiences.
How low did it get at Carlton? How much trouble? What was rock bottom for you last year?
Last year, I think it's when the spirit goes. You can see the players and the spirit. That was the hardest thing that you can see. That was the enjoyment there, and then you've got to look at the Carlton Footy Club, our brand and what we represent. And that was my main thing. That when I took over as caretaker coach, I wanted to get the spirit back of the boys to make sure they had some fun and played with some passion.
You tried to make it fun straight away, didn't you? Take them 10-pin bowling on day 2 or 3 and try and do little subtle things like that to try and get them enjoying themselves again?
Yeah, we try to do some things like that. Yeah, just to bond and have a chat and not be so serious. You know, AFL footy can be a pretty serious business, and you can roll on from Monday to Friday, play the games, and you're back into it. So sometimes you need a break and a reality check to have a look around and have a look at your mates and see how you can support them.
We've talked about Judd and Favola. Your other star, Nick Stevens, has been under the pump. A lot of criticism for his weight and the fact that he's unfit and came back to footy this year out of shape. I mean, obviously there were reasons for that, his injury. This is a picture on the front page of The Age last week or the week before. The yellow jersey, probably not all that flattering. Did you address that with Nick? Was he? I gather he was pretty upset by some of the publicity he got.
Yeah, I think he was. I thought it was a little bit unfair from where he's come from. He's been out of footy for a long time. He missed, I think, the 2 weeks, which ended up being 3 weeks. So really, this week would have nearly been his first game of footy back. And what he did against Essendon, he had 26 possessions, played a fantastic game. Last week, he was around 26 possessions, a couple of goals. Super performance from me.
The Irish experiment, you guys have been in the middle of it.
Yep.
Helping the boys, the two of them. There's, I think, a story written that perhaps the experiment failed. As someone that played with Jimmy Stein's the greatest of all, he took a lot of time. Where's Satanta at?
I think I spoke on 3AW, Caroline, about we've made the decision to play Satanta forward and use him as a centre forward, full forward that can relieve a bit of pressure from Brendan at times and Brad Fisher, so we can release the ball a little bit longer, and I think he plays that more naturally than maybe as a defender, as we sort of found out through pre-season.
Do you think the back line, that's the place you've really got to strengthen the most over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think, it's an area that, every team works on. Sometimes it's the pressure, and that's what we've seen in the Collingwood game, that our pressure in our front half didn't allow Collingwood to get the ball to flow through the middle of the ground. And I thought Paul Bauer, Jamison's a real find for us, and Waite, he played on Rewalt and did a fantastic job this week against Rocker. And Thornton, I think, really, I suppose, put his stocks back up in the AFL system up there because he's had a great start to the season.
You went into that game savage underdogs, and yet last time you played Collingwood, you almost had their measure, didn't you? In fact, that was one of the games you were accused of tanking last year when I think Favola was moved, Saddington was moved, and I've heard all your explanations and I don't want to go over that, but you must have seen from that game how close you could get. I mean, last year they were flying when you took them as close as you did.
Yeah, that gave us a lot of confidence going into this week that we could match it with any team, and we had a game plan and we stuck to it, and I think that's the best we've played for a long time at the standard that's set at AFL level, offensively and defensively.
Rats, we're nearly out of time. We've got a lot of Carlton supporters in our office. They tell me that this game against Melbourne is the sort of game that Carlton can lose in terms of they get themselves up, have a good win, go into the game favourites, team struggling. Melbourne have done historically pretty well against Carlton. How do you guard against that, safeguard against it?
Well, I think, we sort of set a standard, last week against Collingwood, and that's the standard that we should go into playing Melbourne. It is a big challenge for us to make sure that we, win 2 games in a row, and we know that Melbourne are trying to get their first win on the board, and they'll be as hungry as what we were last week. So it's a real big challenge for our boys. But if we apply the same pressure and do what we do, I think we're a huge chance to win.
Brett, congratulations on the win and for having the courage to book your appointment in the hot seat before the weekend, and well done, and we'll see you again throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, thanks a lot.